Hey, thank you so much. We are back with another episode of Teamology, where we talk to incredible real estate leaders across the United States and learn a little bit about their stories. So today we have Rachel Brandingham. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. And I'm excited to learn about you and your story. Before we kind of jump into that, tell us a little bit about like what's how did 2025 shake out for you? Team composition, whatever you want to share with us. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how 2025 was. It was a mess. It was probably one of the most difficult years of my life. Also, being in business, it really it tested the foundation we were what we wanted to do and our vision and everything. So I'm happy to say that out of that, on average. So I'm very proud of what we've accomplished this year, but it was not pretty. So a
Yeah.
little bit about my team. So I am made up of a 10-person team. I'm the Rainmaker CEO. Something a little bit different about me, I am not just in real estate. So I own, operate for other companies. So,
Oh
or
wow.
co-own companies. So, yeah. So um, it's been kind of organic growth through real estate. People are like, well, how do you do that, right? How do you wear four different hats? And I'm excited to say that there are four different hats that I wear and juggle, but they're all in real estate. So it makes it's not, I'm not out here running a restaurant and selling real estate. We're all inside of the house of homes, right? And so it makes it very easy to bounce kind of back and forth and lead the teams. And I have a ton of leverage. I'm highly leveraged, which is where the vision for the real estate team really was like a very early a decision, and I acknowledged that I would need that support very, very early on in my career. So
That's awesome. So you have four businesses. What really quickly, what four businesses? Curious. What are those?
yeah, so I'm lucky to co-own one of the top custom home building businesses in Hardin County in our area. My
That's
father
awesome.
started it 52 years ago. And so my brother and I have stepped in to lead and own that company together. And it's you know being born into a family of builders, and you know you have to adopt it as your own profession at some point. And there were some early years I got to work in more of a corporate aspect, and so I learned outside of the family business some of those things. And then I decided I wanted to come back, right? Like this world had my heart, and so I came back to the family business. And mom and dad have owned and operated it all these years, and so we're benefiting from that. We're now able to step into those really big shoes. So my brother and I co-own that company together. I Of course, the real estate team. So we are one of the top teams in Hardin County. I say that because we vie for position every other month. It's basically us and two other teams. So, but we've been able to build that in 5 years. So we
That's
we went
amazing.
from basically not selling a bit of real estate, and in 5 years we are going to close out this year right at about 40 million in sales, a little over $1 million in GCI. And that was like a goal I had stared at in the MREA book, and I'm like, that's never going to happen, but it's a nice goal, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the Rainmaker CEO for that, for the team. And then a natural byproduct of what we were doing in sales every day was property management. I had an owner who kept saying, like, we want you to manage our properties. And they had a nice portfolio. And I remember telling them, hey, it's in my Disney. I want to do property management at some point, but I'm not ready for that yet. And he said, we'll give you till Monday. It was a Friday afternoon. He said, we'll give you till Monday to make up your mind. I went to church on Sunday, and I sat there in service, and they preached on the book of Esther. And the pastor looks out in the crowd and he goes, someone needs to hear this today, that you were born for such a time as this, and you need to, act on it. And so I walked to the parking lot and I called him and I said, it looks like I'm starting a property management company. I just felt like such a profound moment. It was meant for me.
That's awesome.
So we now manage almost 400 long-term rentals in this area. That company is 2.5 years old. And
Okay.
then I attended Leadership Academy with the Ohio Valley region, and there was a lady talking about short-term rentals and a business that she had built out managing those. And so a year and a half ago, I set out on that journey, and now we manage over 40 short-term rentals here locally. My team
Oh,
does,
wow. That's awesome.
and then attended another get in big rooms. I attended another event out in Phoenix, and one of the ladies talked a lot about a staging and remodeling business and how that supported the real estate business. And so thus was born Brandingham Concierge. And so Brandingham Concierge does all of the painting and touch up work, and we do bathroom remodels, and we've got 52 years worth of contractors and expertise and knowledge. And so we just pull on that to support clients, whether they sell with us or not. We stage for listings that aren't ours. But primarily we focus on our clients and just offering them all the options that they could ever need. So
I love
those are
that. I love that. What event did you go to in Arizona? Just curious.
it was a women's event, and I hate that I can't call from it.
Gotcha.
It was a collaboration between Elevate and another big company, but
Gotcha.
um, they had asked me. I wasn't going to go. I was like,
Okay.
I'm too busy. I'm drowning. I've got no time for this. And they stuck me on a panel. If you want to get somebody in a room and force them to be there, you put them on a panel. And so I,
Absolutely.
I got stuck on this panel and was up there speaking, and then spent the rest of the week sitting and listening, and it was life changing. So
I love it. I love it. That's so awesome. I love hearing all those businesses. Good for you, and congrats on that success. That's amazing. Based on that and that success you've achieved, I mean, what do you think your biggest driver of your growth has been thus far?
yeah, I'm humble enough to say that I started building on a really solid foundation. So I came back to a very small custom home building business
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago. And obviously, was like, I'm young and energetic. My parents have built an impressive company though. So I brought a lot of excitement and enthusiasm to that. And then stepped into real estate. And I think the biggest driver of my success to date was I went through a divorce. So at the same time that I started in real estate, I found myself starting over. I was no longer a wife. I was no longer a military wife. I was no longer a police wife. All of these titles that I carried. And also, I was going to lose everything. I didn't have enough money to keep the home that I had built and give my kids this life that I had dreamed of. And I remember one night I was laying on the bathroom floor just thinking I was going to throw up just from emotion and sadness. It was a heartbreak that I can't really describe. And I just heard like no one's coming to save you, and life is a great big adventure, and you are offered the opportunity to go out and define yourself exactly as you want to, not by anyone else. And of course, there were nights that I crawled back onto that bathroom floor over the last 5 years. It has not been pretty. It has been a brutal uphill battle of really growth internally, right?
Yeah.
Your business and your world expands to the growth and the ability that you have to expand. And so, you would find me on that bathroom floor when it got to the point where everything was harder than I could handle and bigger than I could expand. And then I'd make that decision, and I'd surround myself with really smart people, and I'd get up and I'd do it again the next day. And I've just grown, and I see the company matching my growth, right? So the most important thing that I've ever done for myself, newly single mom, not even able to afford my mortgage, and I hired a MAPS coach. And her name was Ashley Miller, and I met with her at 10:30 this morning, and she has seen me at every season. She saw me when I wasn't even selling real estate. I was recommended before I really even met the metrics because of my construction sales. Because
Sure.
my dad doesn't sell custom homes. They don't go on the MLS. There's no tracking of those. They're just internal sales, right? Because we're custom. But they were willing to review what I had sold inside his world and add that to the one or two sales that I had done in real estate. And so But my first conversation with her was hysterical. She's like, "How much real estate have you sold?" And I'm like, "I don't know." "And what do you
Yeah.
wanna sell?" "I don't know."
Yeah.
"And what do you want your life to look like?" I
Good
knew I
question.
didn't want this happening to me, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that I think God in His grace knew that I needed to be met in that moment, by someone that has just stood by me. She was 10 years in my future doing all the things that I wanted to do. And then I have just been consistent about forcing myself out of my comfort zone into bigger rooms around people that scare the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And that's where growth has happened. So,
That's so good. I love that. I love that. I think, I actually talked a lot about this with our team here over the last couple weeks, and it's you have these goals, and if your goals are higher than they were last year, you have to turn into the person that you need to become to achieve those goals. So where do your habits interact with that person that you need to be to achieve those goals, so you can provide for your family and yourself and everybody? So I love that. Yeah, we're never we're never at that point, right? And one of my best buddies and just business partner Ben, he always says you're gonna get to the top of a mountain, and then you're gonna look over, and there's gonna be a mountain that's higher, right? So
yep, yep.
never
And
never stops.
and entrepreneurs, I mean, whether you're in real estate or in business, you're an entrepreneur, right? And I think one of the good things and bad things about our personalities is one, we always see the worst in ourselves and there's always more we want to do, right? And achieve. And so you have to slow yourself down at times and say, oh, I've really accomplished a lot. And all these things that I've checked off of that list that I wanted to do, let me take a moment and just enjoy this now. Okay, where are we going next, right? Because I think, my I was asked early on in my career, like, when's it enough? By people who didn't understand my drive and my motivation. And I can honestly say I will never achieve enough. I have one life to live. And when I see I recently hired a girl that I had worked with at my previous career, and she was working nights and was away from her kids. And we sat on the couch yesterday in our team meeting, and she goes, this is my first holiday ever since I've had kids being able to have the day off and at home with them.
That's so
And
cool.
I just like, I welled up in tears. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about my bank account. In fact, I probably make less owning the team than I did as an individual agent.
True. True. Very true.
But
True as tale.
it's those moments of hearing those stories that you're just like, this is bigger than I heard it said, like, at some point, you no longer crave success, you crave significance. You
Yeah.
want your life to have mattered. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to live like a really big life that impacts other people.
That's so good. I love that. So good. What what do you look for when you're bringing on new partners or agents, and what's been your biggest lesson in building people?
Yeah. So I think I look for character, right? I
Okay.
can teach you. I can teach you. And I also try to pair up things that bring people to life, right? Like, it's that old saying of like, you can't teach a fish how to fly, but you put them in a body of water, and vice versa. I can't take a bird and stick them in water and expect them to swim. So you try, through the KPA process, but also like something I've learned to do is go to dinner with them. Like,
Yes.
get outside the office elements and get to know them as a human. I look for patterns of success. And by that, I mean, how have they risen, right? Time over time, we all get knocked down. We're all going to hit those moments in life where it just takes it all out of us. But how do they get back up? And so, if I can find someone with really strong morals and very strong character, and then I can figure out what lights up their eyes, right? Like, what brings them to life. When I'm talking about the different entities in my business, I might be there hiring for an agent, and then
Right.
I start talking about interior design on the Brandingham Builders side, and they go, "Oh, I've always wanted to do that. Like, I have this, you should see my house, right? And I have vision boards." And suddenly I might not be talking to my agent, or maybe I'm talking to an agent slash designer, right? So I
Yeah.
think figuring out what makes people like truly thrive and makes them excited to come to work, because then success is just about coaching and accountability. It's not, you don't have the wrong person in the wrong seat and you're just driving something that's never going to fit. So
Yeah.
I think it's about getting to know the person, and then you can coach so much easier, right? Then it's just saying, hey, let me hold you accountable. I know you're in a tough season, but remember these goals, and then you just reignite that flame, because we all in moments go through seasons where you lose that motivation, right? And so
Absolutely.
then it's just getting to the heart of it. What happened, and where can I help, and how can I support, and let's get you back on track.
I love that. And there's a lot of good things to take out of that too, right? Is the how they risen, finding out how they grew up, and just different ways that they've seen, like you said, adversity. But what was their response to that, and then determining if that's the person you're looking for, right? I love that.
Correct.
Speaking of people, what do you think makes your team culture unique, and how do you keep that strong?
Yeah. Well, I think it really starts when we've brought the wrong person in, because of the culture that we've created. I can almost instantly tell, like, how they all interact, right? We just have good people. Now,
It's so good.
we have people of all different shapes and sizes, people of all different religions and backgrounds, and that, but at the same time, it all meshes so beautifully into this level of like understanding and acceptance and support. So when you bring someone in who's just not got those foundational morals that they are motivated by and lead by, and it's almost it really weeds itself out. They don't really feel like they fit in. We clearly notice quickly that they don't fit in, and we're really quick to move forward without someone, really slow to bring people in, right? Because with everything that I built out, they all wear my brand. They're all,
Right.
in having such a big world, you have a lot of opportunities to fail the community, and you fail it in one aspect, it impacts multiple aspects, right? And so, we from the guys that are working cleaning the job sites for my brother to the top agent, right? I can get them all in a room, and of course, they don't all spend all their time in a room together. So there might be a moment or two of just like, oh, I don't know these people. But by the end of the night, everybody's communing and talking and fellowshipping together. And that's how I know we've got the right people. So,
Yeah, and when you put, it's like you said, they stick out really quickly. They stick out like a sore thumb, and then it's conversations that
yeah.
happen after that. So, what about if you could fully capitalize on one opportunity in your business right now? Which one would unlock the best and biggest potential? Do you think?
Oh, so we're stepping into it right now. So if you
Yes,
are,
yes, yes, ma'am. Let's go.
oh, this is gonna be a big year for us, 2026. So, um, if you are early on in your building phase, I think it's very easy to think, I just got to get up every day and just run as fast as I can, right? I need that next sale, because you got to pay your bills and then you're trying to create opportunity. And as a rainmaker, you can forget the importance of processes and systems and a really strong CRM. When I first got started, I was an individual agent, just selling everything I could possibly get my hands on. I was door knocking, I was phone calling, I was sharing everything on social media. And it was just a flurry of activity, and it resulted in a lot of sales, right? I went from a nobody to somebody. The agents who had been in the business for 20 plus years were like, who is this? And they were nervous, right? In a matter of 6 months to a year. So you can do all that, but at some point you're going to find yourself overwhelmed. You're gonna find yourself falling apart. You're gonna let people down, and that's gonna affect your reputation. If I could go back and redo it, I would put some standards and processes and procedures in a database, a strong database in place first, and then build from that, versus getting so busy and then everything breaking and all of my systems crumbling, and then being like, we got to go back to we got to go back to just what's our CRM and how are we using it, how are we tracking it, and what are our standards. And so I think that I'm really excited. Like we just incorporated Lofty into our business, and I think it's going to catapult us into the next level. Uh, I'm seeing my agents more bought in than they've ever been. Lead gen is not a forced activity. It is a excited thing. It's a competitive thing. So I think if I were to rebuild, I'd put more of those systems and software and into place earlier on.
Gotcha. Okay. Lofty. That's a CRM? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. And then what about so having the systems and everything, what about in your current world? Like if you're looking at 2020, gosh, we're in 2026. That's crazy. I don't
It's
have many
crazy.
days to say 2025, right? If you're looking at 2026, where do you see like what area and or if you're expanding, what are you guys doing? What's your kind of biggest opportunity in that place from where you are kind of right now?
So our custom home building business, it's really good. We will keep our foot on the gas at the same level just because it's been in business 52 years. The system worked perfect. We're not going to break it.
Yeah.
So that is on cruise control. Um, where I see the most opportunity is, I sat in a podcast or I sat listening to a podcast the other day, and I had a goal of 500 properties this year, and we will meet that. We're at 400. We're going to gain another 100. We're going to add staff. We're going to add fleet. We're going to build out that side of the business because the benefit of that business, I look at my world as an infinity sign that once you come in, anything housing, you never leave, right? We are now selling our custom home clients' kids their first home.
That's so
And
crazy.
we are putting our custom home clients' brother in a rental. And I'm sending people who my dad built for 10 years ago, I'm sending teams out to do touch up work, and we're making revenue from helping them with small repairs. So the goal is that inside real estate in Hardin County, once you enter my world, you never leave.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, I see huge opportunity in the real estate industry here locally. What we were able to do in 5 years, like I said, has taken some of these other teams 20 plus years to build.
Hmm.
And so next year, I expect to be number one by a long shot with the CRM and the processes that we put in place and the lead gen metrics and all of that stuff. So I couldn't be more excited. I mean, this year was tough. It was grueling. It broke us in many different ways. Broke our systems. We had to rethink. Being in a down market really clears the water. It gets muddy when things are great. When it's easy, things get muddy. Lots of agents jump in. It's but when it gets tough and everybody's required to show up and really perform, I love it. It's tough and hard, and sales take 30% more effort, but to be up 43% with market conditions like we're having going into 2026, I mean, the sky is the limit.
That's
So,
huge. Yeah, that's such a big accomplishment. Congrats on that. With being in a market that's down, because we're here in California, and it's probably 30 to 35% less sales.
mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, definitely you have to, and I've been doing this 23 years myself. So I went through like the '07s, '08. So when people start talking about like challenging markets, I'm like, oh, this this is nothing compared to what it was kind of like back then. It was crazy back then. But yeah, that's such an accomplishment. Super good. I love hearing that, and that tells
Well,
you that you have people that want to hustle. That tells you have people that are holding on to the standards and just using the systems that are proven. And so once you are, the coolest thing about that is you're in a down market. So just think what they're going to do in a up market. It's going to be insane.
and I would even love to pick your brain on this. I can imagine that during those I have been through one with my father's company. So
Hmm.
I was old enough to experience the 2007, 2008 housing crisis. And I watched my dad go from building the top custom homes in Hardin County to, I saw fear. And I saw him diversify to where he was slinging a hammer, doing framing jobs that, for most intents and purposes, was well beneath the man that he had earned the right to show up as. But
Yeah.
he is made from a generation that did whatever it took, right? And he started an insulation company in the middle of all of that, and a a concrete overlay business in the middle of that because he had a family to feed, right? I never saw for a minute self-pity. I never saw for a
Mhm.
minute like I'm just gonna wait here until things get better. And I think that, that's something that I've taken from his experience. It's like going back to no one's coming to save you.
So true.
And there have been moments, I mean, I had a $1.5 million deal fall apart just the other day, and I was a dual agent. And when you're in this type of sales, of course, 1.5 million, just so you know, that's probably the top 1% of sales in my market, right?
Well, when I
We
heard 400 sales and 39 million in volume, I was like, okay, that's a big deal.
Well, the average sale price is 275,000 here.
Okay.
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 So that 1.5 million is the 1%, and you work extremely hard to get the deal. You work extremely hard to sell the deal. And I mean, I had it fall apart. And of course it was an ugly fall apart. And I did what you don't not supposed to do. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. I was thinking about, that investment, what I could do with it. And, obviously there are still moments where I could stay in that self-pity,
Yep.
but today I showed that home and I'm expecting an offer in the next few hours, right?
Heck
It
yeah.
was,
Let's go.
you don't stay in that moment. You just keep, and sure, property management is not a glorified business, right? I had multiple people text me, what the heck are you thinking starting a property management business, Rachel? Like, you're one of the top real estate agents in our area. Why would you go? And on my very first day in property management, I stood in front of a hoarder house that I had
Mm.
taken over from the previous company. We had the three cop cars out front. She had taken her life inside the home. I had
Ooh.
ambulances. I had animal control because there was four pit bulls boxed up inside the home. Like, and I just stood there in the on the blacktop in the road looking around, and I thought, what the hell have I done? What am I doing, right? And we rolled up our sleeves and we cleaned out that house, and now it's a beautiful part of the community. And so you don't stay there too long. You feel it. It's painful. It's hard. This market has not been easy. I mean, over the last couple of years, it has been daunting. Deals falling apart left and right. You're having to band-aid them back together.
Yep.
But that self pity, you can drown in it. Just be careful. Feel it, respect it. It is hard, but just keep moving and create motion. People want to work with people who are busy and successful. So create motion, get involved in things, step into conversations that are bigger than you. And I mean, it comes at that point.
Well, yeah, it's have your 5 minute pity party, and if it takes longer, hey, that's awesome. Don't let go more than a day though. Like,
Sure.
stuff happen, and hey, just do something. Whether it's pick up the phone and make a call to your friend and see if they know anybody, right? Just something,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just start stacking those. Absolutely. All right. So, if you could give one piece of advice to another person, or maybe it's a team leader or someone who's looking to level up, what would that be?
Slow down and build out your vision. So if you don't know where you're going, you'll never end up there. I've had to stop, and if you are successful, you usually move quick.
Yes.
And oftentimes we don't think through where we're going. We're just like, we know we're running and we're running fast, right? And I am the queen of this. I get so excited. Everything is a great idea. I used to get jerked
Squirrel.
here and there. Yes, yes, ADHD. Um, but I recommend every year I go away by myself and I spend at least a day, but I recommend more, and I really dig into like what your business looks like and where you actually want to be at. I think it's, at some point it's going to transition from I just got to make money and how do I make money to actually like now I'm not really even happy. Right now
Yeah.
I've built something so big that I'm being consumed by it. And how do I step away and leverage myself? And so in whatever space you are, and then I would just say, just keep going. No one's story looks the way it looks from the outside in reality. My story looks very polished and beautiful. And, people tell me all the time, oh my gosh, you're so successful. Like, oh, you're so impressive. And it's like, man, if you could see my day to day, you would see me all the days that I got home from work and I would go to my room and I would slide under my bed covers. I just didn't have anything else to give. All the days that I thought, I'm going to write a resume, I'm done. I'm writing a resume and I'm going to go get a 9 to 5 and I'm over this, right? And behind all of those bad days, you're going to see a big community of family and friends who, and coaches and therapists, patch me back together. I think the day that I realized that everyone's stories aren't as pretty as I made them out to be in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
then I wasn't so critical of my failures, right? Then I
Yes.
was more honest about the things that weren't working, and then I started asking for help, right? I think that's a very humbling thing to say to people, like, hey, this is not working the way I thought it was, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
if I had a piece of advice, it'd be like, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. You're giving it all you got and you're surrounding yourself with quality people who are coaching and leading you, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
um, and then I think I would say, just know that anyone at this level is going to experience the ebb and flows of success. It is not, you don't hit it and you're just off to the races. You're going to hit this level and you're going to drop and you're going to hit this level. I've heard of success as actually a spiral, which is kind of different. You've seen it where like it does this.
Yeah,
I've,
I've never heard of the spiral one.
yeah, I thought that was interesting because you go up a little bit and then you'll drop
It's,
and then you get up a little bit more, but it's a level. It's not so much like climbing this ladder. It's really
sure.
just evolution of life, right? You're just becoming better and growing. And so just when those days come, just make sure that you don't put so much into real estate that you don't have, or your business, that you don't have a really solid family base and friend base that's going to, and therapists and coaches and mentors and people that are going to put you back together. Because in that assembly, there's stretching going on, and you're going to get back into it a bigger, better version of yourself, capable of more, smarter, wiser, with things under your belt you hadn't previously had. And so there's no shame. If you saw every bit of my story, you'd be like, you would see the real side. And yet, I am still successful, and yet I am still so proud of my growth and humble enough to say I am a long way from where I want to be.
Yeah, and the tribe you have is so important. The people you surround yourself with, the people you go to advice for, the people you're learning for, and like you said, is I especially talk to our A partners on this, our agent partners, and it's like Instagram makes it look good, like right, like don't compare yourself, don't plug yourself up to somebody else. It looks good, but the reality is very different. I guarantee you, right? So I love that advice. I love that advice.
And
Rachel,
just stay,
oh, go ahead. No, go for
well,
it.
I was one closing thing. I was like, stay consistent with what you know is your win. Don't get distracted. Like I'm a distracted person. Like I quickly, I'm like, we got to run out and make movies like this person. We got to run out
Yeah,
and start a kiss like this person. If what you're doing works, bear down into that thing and go deep and ignore, just block it all out. Delete people, just really stay focused on running your race and don't worry about what everybody else is up to.
yeah, and some people won't fit in your race, and that's okay, right? So, all
Yeah.
right, Rachel, what if someone wants to get a hold of you, whether it be for maybe they want to reach out and say, pick your brain, maybe they have a referral to send to you, maybe there's an agent they know that wants to join a team. Where would they reach out to you at?
Yeah, I'm located in Central Kentucky. So we cover the Louisville, Lexington, right near Nashville. So I'm right in the core of Kentucky. So my cell number, happy to give it out. Feel free to call me. If you just need somebody to help put you back together after a long day, I'd love to have that
I
conversation.
might call you
Uh,
someday.
Perfect. Please do. It's 270-401-2801. Feel free to text me, call me anytime. Of course, the Brandingham Group .com is our website. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I love connecting with people through social media. You can find me on TikTok and all the hilarious videos of my kids. I post them a lot. So would love to connect with you guys.
Thank you so much for being on today. It was an honor having you here. I appreciate your time and spending some time with us. So thank you so much. And yeah, reach out to Rachel if you ever need anything. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Rachel, thanks again for coming on here. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Let me end this recording. recording.